Hey everybody, welcome back to Airsoftology Mondays, the show that answers your questions, helps you out in a pinch, and also has a very different backdrop because I am somewhere totally different. I'm actually in this company, and some of you may know who Lilacs is, you may not know who they are, but I am in Osaka, Japan, in the office, and just I know you're gonna look behind me and see all the cool stuff. That's a vector. Anyway, welcome back to the show. I got to show you guys, it's in focus right now. I'm going to let it come back to me. Hopefully we can get back into focus here with me because we're live and that's how things work. All right, good. So anyway, welcome back to the show. And in fact, it works pretty simple. All you do is put your questions down in the comment section below. You vote up your favorites and I will get them on the show. And like I said, Lilacs is an accessory and parts company based in Osaka, Japan. And they are known for internal and external upgrades, and of course some cool kits like that. In fact, I'm not going to tell you what that is. For those of you who might watch a little bit of anime, you may know what that rifle came from. It's a special run they did. Unfortunately, they don't make them anymore because, I'd love to get one. Also, they get into like gear and accessories. I'll have some videos on the channel, so stay tuned. I'm going to be filming a lot of cool stuff from here, so if you guys aren't familiar with all the products they do. But again, they're known for a lot of their brands, including Prometheus barrels. It's probably in the US and the West, probably the biggest parts, but also like Nitro Vo, 9-Ball. There's a lot of brands underneath their umbrella for internal upgrades for airsoft, as well as externals like rails and things like that for gas guns and electric. But enough talking about these guys. We are going to jump right on into the show. We're going to talk about all of your questions and, of course, the video of the week, which this one I kind of called an audible on, but you guys will see why. But up first, we're going to be talking about all those questions, like I said, in the Tippmann mail call. NY Airsofter writes, what are the most hated on brands in Airsoft and why? And what are the most loved brands and why? All right, so I'm not going to answer this from my perspective because I, as a reviewer, there are great products from every company and sometimes there are not so great products from every company. And when I run across one of those, I do try to work with the companies and help them improve it. If I can give some feedback and maybe that's something they're interested in, I will do that and assist and try to make it better. And that's actually happened in the past. And I won't tell you who or what, but there have been some products that actually they're very popular today that I got early samples of and I was like, hey guys, this is going on. But we're going to talk about the brands in Airsoft that are hated on by you guys. And I just dove right into the comment section below this questions because I figured that's the best place to kind of get an idea of what's going on. So across the board, by and far, from your feedback, Crytek seemed to be the top of the list. That was the one brand that kept popping up as the most loved, not hated, loved brand. It was pretty consistent, throughout the list. You're looking at, I really enjoyed this. There were some surprising ones there. Some Chinese-made companies, Chinese-owned companies that usually are more budget-minded that were on the top of the list. But for some of you, people showed up, D-Boys was on somebody's list. SEMA was a couple of them actually on there. Those were kind of some surprises for me to see on there. It's like, that's interesting, right? When it comes to hated, there were a few that popped up on the list. Hated doesn't necessarily mean they make a bad product. Hated on brands. Not the worst brands, but the brands that players, you guys and gals out there, kind of complain and talk about in a negative way the most. Not, again, because it's a bad product, but you just don't like the brand. Unfortunately, Vulcan showed up pretty heavily on this list, and I think that's due to the most recent issue they had with the Odin Speedloader. While they didn't break any laws, there was nothing illegal that Vulcan did. It just wasn't a popular choice by bringing a copy of the Odin Speedloader to the United States and distributing. And I think that really hurt their reputation. That was, again, a choice they made to bring a product in that was much more affordable than the original. There was actually a provisional patent that had kind of expired on it, or is kind of rolled. So they did nothing wrong from the legal standpoint, but I think in the players' eyes, it definitely resonated. In fact, I did a whole Monday's video talking about that issue quite a while ago. In fact, I'll even try to link it up here in the corner for you if that's something you want to watch. It's kind of older news now, and they definitely apologize for it, by the way, guys. Heads up, they apologized. They pulled the product from their website. all that stuff is gone. No harm, no foul. I'm not saying go hate on these guys, but I think that may have stuck around and resonated. Is that a good reason to hate a company? For some people, maybe. For me, probably not. It's like, hey, we screwed up, we made a mistake, and we do recognize it, so we're going to change that. I think everyone deserves forgiveness. Absolutely. I've made plenty of mistakes in my day, and I hope people would forgive me for it. So that's it. I think that's it. Not to name on that, there's people who talked a little bit negative about a couple other brands like WE and APS. I haven't had two. I've had some experience with one, not WE, but I had some APS, some of the early stuff many, many, many years ago there was like a pistol they had that, I'll be honest with you, wasn't the best, but maybe hated on brands? I don't think so, because APS has been making some pretty darn good stuff now. Like, I just did a review on the Falcor Blitz that was made by APS, and I was really surprised it was an APS product, just from my previous mindset. Like I said, things change. Perspectives change, so it's not always something to that. Then people talked about WE being, I hate on them, but then some people are like, well, I've had a WE pistol for 4.5 years, I've used it every game, and it still works great. So again, I think everything's perspective. It's just interesting to see the brands that showed up in the list. So I'm going to ask you guys this week, along with the questions you want to have for next week, what are your loved brands? What are the brands you love, and what are the brands you like to hate on? Sometimes you just love to hate someone. It's kind of like any sport, pro wrestling or something like that. There's always the villains that, you have to have a villain there, or sports team. You love your team, but then you have that rival. Maybe it's a rivalry thing. Let me know. I'm curious in the comment section below what your favorite ones are, what your most loved, and what your most hated on ones, and why. Piano Covers Man writes, what are the advantages to higher weight BBs? I usually play indoors and I'm debating whether or not it's worth it. So he goes on to ask questions about bio BBs. I'll kind of hit that. I've done a whole video on bio BBs before. But we're going to talk about heavyweight BBs and lightweight BBs indoor. Outdoor, I will use heavier weight BBs because they seem to hold the energy better. They cut through the wind better. They, for me, are more accurate at distance. You might lose a little bit of maximum range, but when that BB heads out, it flies a straighter path. That's outdoor. Indoor, your engagement distances are short. You're looking at 30, 40, maybe 50 feet, so 10, 12 meters, 13 meters. That's not very far. You're not going to deal with really any deviation at all. And in fact, when you step up in weight on BBs, they get more expensive and they can ramp up quick. You move up to a .32 or a .30 or a .43 for sniper rifles, you can get into some expensive BBs. So I would say jump into .20s. Some fields limit your BB weight. In fact, I know of quite a few around the United States that limit you to .20s or sometimes up to .25s, just to manage the jewel creep issue of all airsoft guns, especially like HPA and gas blowbacks, to kind of keep it more level, to not have those guns jewel creep too heavily. And I won't get into jewel creep. If you guys want to do it, just Google jewel creep and airsoft and you can get a great physics lesson on what that is. But I personally think from a money standpoint that it is probably more budget-minded to go with a lighter weight BB. I usually, indoors, I will run, something lighter just because it saves me money on buying ammunition. And then outdoors, of course, I will spend the extra money because I want that accuracy at range. I want those shots to count. I want the extra energy transfer and the ability to maybe cut through a little grass or branches a little better to hit my target. That's just something have had experience with, and I think it's definitely, for me, worth going to. I mean, I was using 2.28s, now I'm actually in the .30 or .32, sometimes like the G&G BBs, sometimes the Elite Force, and I do get into bios. As for bios, they're compostable, not biodegradable, almost all airsoft BBs, which means you need sun, so you need heat and time. They do compost. In fact, they do go away. In fact, there's a great video I think Elite Force did, or at least a post, showing their BBs compost over time, and it's pretty cool how it just breaks down into the environment. So yes, they really are, and for outdoors, I would recommend doing that. I mean, just to help the environment, to have something compost out there better than a piece of plastic that won't. So anyway, that's enough about that, and kind of my personal opinion on BB weight and just kind of money spend. But hey, you can run what you want. If you want to run 4.3s and go through 1,000 rounds indoor, have fun. But for me, I'm a little more budget conscious. I want to kind of save my money. Giancarlo Escobar writes, hello, I'm starting Airsoft this summer, extremely excited, and want to know how important footwear is, and if so, what are the best options? All right, outdoor, it matters a lot. You want to get boots and ankle support. I'll be kind of quick on this one. Pick something, I usually have lightweights. I usually run some Loas. I have Solomons. So Loa Zephyrs, I have Solomon, like GTX, the Solomon, was it 340? I forget the models. They're mid-height boots. I usually like the mid-height. It gives me ankle support, but still gives me some mobility. I do like lightweight boots, especially for longer games. There are so many fantastic brands out there you can get. You can go 8-inch boots, you can go the tall, you can go like combat boots. Just, I would recommend if you're gonna be playing outdoors on uneven terrain, get something with ankle support. It's not worth twisting an ankle. I've seen, probably that's the number one biggest injury in Airsoft I've seen is heat casualties, so not hydrating properly or not managing your heat as you play in the summer or hot weather, and then also just ankle injuries from twisting an ankle or falling or something. Outdoors. Indoors, consider a shoe that would be for a sport parallel to what you're doing in Airsoft. For example, running around, cutting, stopping. I personally will probably wear the same boots just because they have good grip. Some of them don't have great grip on concrete, so I'll maybe look at a pair of like soccer shoes. I do wear a lot of those. I see people wear a lot of good tennis shoes. I think basketball shoes are fantastic choices for indoor as well because of the nature of basketball and the nature of playing indoor Airsoft. Those are both very common. A lot of starting and stopping, a lot of strain on your ankles. Those are all some great options, I think, for Airsoft. But consider also, too, make sure there's a little bit of tread because in Airsoft, you have BBs all over the concrete floor. They're going to be everywhere, right? And you can slip on them. So kind of consider that in the thing, too. Personally, for me, my Loa Zephyrs, which are more tennis shoe-like combat boots, I wear those for indoor, and I usually wear those Solomons, which are a little more heavy-duty in the outdoors. But I do interchange both of those depending on my uniform colors and all that. And sometimes I will literally just run the Adidas I have on right now. Just a pair of Adidas running shoes, you know, like some Cloudform ones or something like that. Those work pretty good. They aren't high tops or mid tops, so I kind of am a little more careful. I probably should invest in basketball shoes, but I've seen people wear a lot of different things. But that's my thought. Good footwear does matter. Remember, this is a sport. We are being athletic. We are running around. We are being aggressive, and anything you do to limit an injury is definitely worth it. All right, that's it for questions this week, which means it is time for the Code Red Headsets video recommendation of the week. And this one, I'm sorry. I want to apologize. I didn't pick your videos. I'm saving them. Actually, I have like 3 right here on my screen, saved for next week. So keep putting your recommendations in. I'm queuing them up. I've got some fantastic channels. You guys are awesome. Keep putting your video recommendations down there for channels, even your own. I do allow shameless self-promotion. But this one, since I'm here, Laylax, I want to highlight one of their videos, and they've got some great product videos. In fact, it's really cool to see a company that has a product install video because they're doing, upgrade parts, right? So they have a lot of product install videos showing how to install their products, which is really good, actually. So you have to go to like someone else to see it. But for them, this one was their April Fool's video, and I thought it was pretty funny. Okay, it's in Japanese. There's no subtitles. It's cool though. Trust me. Even if you speak English, you don't have to understand a word. You don't have to be able to speak or even understand a bit of Japanese. There's enough little English words spattered in there to figure out exactly what this is. It's their AirGun. And you can just watch this over my shoulder right now. I'm not going to give too much away with it, but the humor is not lost. I mean, humor is humor regardless of whatever language the video's in. And this one definitely was funny. I saw a laugh. It was actually one I watched and laughed pretty hard around April Fool's when it came out. And coming back around, I was like, oh, this would be a perfect one to share since I'm here. So anyway, guys, with the siren in the background and everything, because hey, we were live, right? That is the recommendation here, video recommendation of the week. And again, if you want to get your channel you watch, somebody you really love on YouTube that I've not highlighted or even have before, definitely put them down there, even a special video, specific video, or just a channel in the comment section. I do read those every single week, just like I read your questions every single week and pick out the best. I will make sure to try to get it on the next show. All right, well, that's it. That's it for this show. Thank you, as always, for hanging out and watching. And did you guys figure out what anime that's from? And by the way, I know you saw it, SHOT Show. That was prototype 1 Evic has, and this is prototype number 2 back there. Hang on, let me get me back in focus, because no, I had bad focus issue 2 weeks ago. There we go, we're back in. That one is, by the way, they made the rails. That was kind of their, it's not April Fool's, it's actually a real rail. Very, very, very expensive one-off. So if you guys want a Chris Vector sniper rifle, I'm sure you can commission them to get one. Anyway, until next week, go out, play some airsoft, have some fun, put your questions down below. But no matter what you do, call your freaking hits.